This is a test for Rhonda Kearns. Can you hear us, ma'am?
Yes, I can.
Awesome. Thank you.
We'll call to order the Clinton City Council meeting. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, can we begin with roll call, please?
Corey is trying to join. Can we give him just 1 second?
Yeah, we'll give him a second. We have a council member trying to join, so we're going to hold tight for a second.
He's on.
He's on?
Corey, test 1, 2, 3. Can you hear us, sir? Councilmember Robinson, testing your microphone for us, over. Houston?
Is that his?
You know, that's Suzanne's.
Oh.
She actually has windows.
That bothers you, doesn't it? It bothered me too. I go nuts.
Oh, try a shout out. We had another phone just call in, so.
So, hey, just one more test here. Rhonda, can you give us a good comms check, and then we'll get Corey to do it as well.
All good on this end.
Thank you, ma'am. Corey?
Oh, can you hear me now?
Oh, yes, sir. Loud and clear. Thank you.
Technology issue.
All right, can we begin with roll call, please?
Councilmember Kearns.
Here.
Robinson.
Here.
Seeley.
Here.
Connell.
Here.
Oberon.
Here.
Musvin.
Here.
Councilmember Oberon.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a motion to approve the minutes of the regular City Council, Committee of the Whole, and special council meetings of May 25th, 2021, and they be approved as published on June 5th, 2021.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Can we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Seeley,
Yes.
Connell,
Yes.
Oberon,
Yes.
Mussman,
Yes.
Kearns,
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes, yes.
All right. We have a proclamation this evening declaring June 2021 as Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month. We have Megan Olsen. She's going to come up and do a reading for us.
Thank you very much, everyone, and thank you for the ability to wear purple this evening in honor of Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month. I'm with the Alzheimer's Association out of the Davenport office and cover the counties of Clinton, Jackson, and Scott. So very happy to be here today, and not many people know, maybe some of you do, but our color's purple because it mixes, of course, red and the passion that goes into the work that we do, and then calm of the blue and the stability of the work that we do as well. So we service those going through their Alzheimer's and dementia journey. So as June is Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month, whereas the brain is the control center of the body, and there are 100 billion nerve cells or neurons, creating a branching network with signals traveling through the brain to form memories, thoughts, and feelings. And whereas Alzheimer's disease, unfortunately a progressive neurodegenerative brain disorder, is a fatal disease that destroys the nerve cells and tissue in the brain, which affects an individual's ability to remember, think, and plan, tragically robs individuals of their memories, and leads to a progressive mental and physical impairment. And whereas Alzheimer's disease is the most common form of dementia, which is a general term for loss of memory and other cognitive abilities serious enough to interfere with daily life. And whereas more than 5.8 million Americans are living with Alzheimer's disease, more than 66,000 of these individuals in Iowa. And by 2050, the number of Americans with Alzheimer's disease is expected to skyrocket to 14 million. Alzheimer's disease is the 6th leading cause of death in the United States and in Iowa, and currently there is no cure. Whereas the human cost of Alzheimer's disease in Iowa is staggering, with more than 136,000 caregivers providing 135 million hours of unpaid care for Iowans, totaling more than $2 billion in 2019. And whereas there's a strong link between serious head injury and risk for dementia, other known risks for Alzheimer's disease include age, genetics, cardiovascular factors, and fewer years of formal education. And whereas early detection and diagnosis of Alzheimer's disease is important in order to discuss memory and cognition concerns early, ensure individuals get the care and support they need, allow opportunities to enroll in clinical studies, and start drug therapy for treating symptoms. And whereas lifestyle choices may help keep your body and brain healthy and possibly delay the onset of cognitive decline, so it is important to adopt positive habits, including physical health and exercise, cognitive activity, diet and nutrition, and social engagement. Thank you.
Well, I guess I'll put my name tag out for just a minute. Oh, darn it. You ruined my spotlight moment. I apologize for that. Thank you very much, and I do apologize. I had to step out for a second. Sean, do you want to take over? I mean, you can.
You gonna have the night off?
I can just sit here. All right. Public hearings. I will convene a public hearing concerning sale of 1014 Roosevelt Street and adjacent parcel 84-0227-0000 to Travis Winter for $100. Have we heard anything in the clerk's office?
No, we have not, Your Honor.
Is there any citizens here that would like to address this public hearing? Is there any council members that would like to address this public hearing?
Somebody say good luck. It's going to be a good undertaking, and we do wish you good luck. It's going to be if anybody can do it, you can do it, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Hearing none, we will close the public hearing. Council member, I guess we'll go Oberon. Will you read this for me?
Thank you, Your Honor.
I have a resolution authorizing the sale of 1014 Roosevelt Street and adjacent parcel 84-0227-0000 to Travis Winter for $100. I move this resolution be adopted as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Can we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Seeley.
Yes.
Connell.
Yes.
Oberon.
Yes.
Mussman.
Yes.
Kearns.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
I will convene a public hearing concerning the sale of the easterly 5.5 feet of 401 to 405 North 4th Street to Ronald Hensley for $200. Have we heard anything in the clerk's office?
No, we have not, Your Honor.
Is there any citizens here or online that would like to address this public hearing? Any council members that would like to address this public hearing? Hearing none, we will close the public hearing. Councilmember Mussman.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. I have a resolution authorizing the sale of the easterly 5.5 feet of 401, 405 North 4th Street to Ronald Hensley for $200. I move that it be adopted as read.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Can we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Seeley.
Yes.
Connell.
Yes.
Oberon.
Yes.
Mussman.
Yes.
Kearns.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
I will convene a public hearing concerning accepting bids and awarding contract for project R-2021/2022 microsurfacing project. Have we heard anything in the clerk's office?
No, we have not, Your Honor.
Is there any citizens here or online that would like to address this public hearing? Any council members that would like to address the public hearing?
Just the bids came back under estimate, which is nice to see.
Yep. Anything else from council on this public hearing? Hearing none, we will close the public hearing. Councilmember Mussman.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a resolution accepting bid and awarding contract for Project R 2021 microservicing. I move that it be adopted as read.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All right, can we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Seeley.
Yes.
Connell.
Yes.
Oberon.
Yes.
Mussman.
Yes.
Kearns.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
I will convene a public hearing concerning the proposal to enter into a development agreement with Lafayette Lofts LLC. Have we heard anything in the clerk's office?
No, we have not, Your Honor.
Is there any citizens in the room or online that would like to address this public hearing? Any council members that would like to address the public hearing? Hearing none, we will close the public hearing. Councilmember Oberon.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a resolution approving and authorizing execution of a development agreement by and between the City of Clinton and Lafayette Lofts LLC. I move this resolution be adopted as presented.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this item?
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd just like to take time and have Bryce, who joined us today, Bryce Henderson, several of you were able to tour the building. Appreciate that, but I just wanted Bryce to have a couple words here for as this project moves forward. Bryce?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Anyway, yes, I appreciate everyone that took the time on Thursday to walk through the building, give me an opportunity to kind of paint the picture of the dream and design we have for the building. We at Bush Construction are really excited about breathing some new life back into the building and returning this landmark back to its glorious state back in the day. So,
I don't know. I heard something fall. Thanks, Bryce. And we talked earlier today, too, and just a shout out, had some assistance from Mr. Dennis, who's in the room today, but the buyer was able to extend the due diligence until October 15th, actually. So that gives time and space for the workforce housing tax credits, different than the other ones, workforce housing, and historical to come through. So this is really a win-win-win for the seller, for the buyer, and for the city as we move forward. So
So I've got just a piece that I'd like to throw out there.
Are we looking at $6,000 or $6,300 that we're going to have to foot to extend this agreement?
We're looking actually at nothing not to exceed $6,000,
Okay.
and that's based on the prorated taxes from June 11th until October 15th that the
So
buyer would have.
one of the things I'd like to see is that we could get that money back if we're just going to maybe float a loan for that instead of just sending that out there. I know they're already going to get $450,000 of taxpayer funds.
Sure, this actually goes to the seller directly.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. So I didn't know if, when they close on that or when they get that, or even if they don't get those tax credits, could we not get that $6,300 back or not to
$6,000.
exceed amount back?
That's a different item, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It is. I just it has to all roll up into one,
Yeah.
I guess.
But this was the city's ability to ensure that the project moved forward, because otherwise we wouldn't have the development agreement today, so.
Yep.
Okay.
If we could just tie those together, possibly.
Okay.
Good.
All right, any other discussion on this? Can we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Seeley.
Yes.
Connell.
Yes.
Oberon.
Yes.
Mussman.
Yes.
Kearns.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
We'll convene a public hearing concerning the vacation and conveyance of Windsor Drive South of 16th Avenue South to Nestle Purina for $175,000. Have we heard anything in the clerk's office?
No, we have not, Your Honor.
All right, is there any citizens in the room or online that would like to address this public hearing? Any council members that would like to address this public hearing?
Somebody trying to get in.
Oh,
Yeah.
hearing none, we will close the public hearing. Now we're at the section for audience comment. I have not received any yellow cards. Have you heard anything else in the clerk's office?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, I'll give anybody, citizens in the room or online, a chance to address the council if they would like to at this time. All right, looks like no one. We'll move on to consent agenda, council
I
members.
was gonna say-
Sorry.
Your Honor. So basically what normally would happen is a resolution follow, but we're still working with Nestle to finish all that paperwork. So when we got with legal, they said we could still hold the public hearing, but then we're going to come back on June 22nd with all the data.
That's why we pulled the resolution.
Yes.
Gotcha. I just wanted to
Just so you guys are clear.
supposed to have a
Yes.
resolution to read.
Fair enough.
Yep.
I just thought it was a typo.
I was thinking, I was waiting for more.
Scribner.
Scribner error.
All right, Councilmember Seeley.
Oh, thank you, Your Honor. I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented on the attachment.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the consent agenda?
7H.
Okay. Councilmember Kearns or Robinson online, is there any items on the consent agenda that you'd like discussion on?
No, this is Kearns. I was going to pull something, but I found out that it had a great response, so I'm not going to.
Okay.
Robinson.
What do you say?
Did you say no, Corey?
What's she referring to?
Yeah, nothing from
Okay.
me.
All right.
7R.
7R.
I thought there was something else. Oh, you pulled 7H.
Yeah, that kind of ties together.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is all, Your Honor.
Okay. Councilmember Oberon or Mussman, any? Nope. All right. Can we do a roll call vote on the balance of the consent agenda, please?
Councilmember Seeley.
Yes.
Connell.
Yes.
Oberon.
Yes.
Mussman.
Yes.
Kearns.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Motions, resolutions, ordinances. Councilmember Connell, will you read 8 alpha for me?
Yep. I've moved that we receive, approve, and place on file the claims.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the claims? All right. Can we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Seeley.
Yes.
Connell.
Abstain.
Oberon.
Yes.
Mussman.
Yes.
Kearns.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Councilmember Oberon.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a resolution authorizing payment to Community State Bank. Move this resolution be adopted as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion on this item.
I
What's that?
Yeah, what happened there?
You gotta click the X.
That stuff was supposed to come up when we originally started.
Yeah, that's for,
Yeah. What was it?
it's for voting.
Oh, hey, we can vote now.
Oh, we're, okay.
No.
Your
All
Honor.
right, any discussion?
Yes.
Councilmember Connolly, yes.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Got distracted
So
by
just
the
trying
flashing thing.
trying to tie these two together, separate items, but again, there's a large project that they're looking to get done here in town, but I'd just like to see that the tax dollars that the citizens pay are going to be somehow come back outside of the $17.5 million project that's going to be getting done. This is basically paying $6,000 or not to exceed amount of $6,000 to this bank that holds the part of the note for this building to kind of extend this deal out. So I'd like to see some kind of wording to where the citizens could get that money back, whether the deal happens or not, once this closes. So, because otherwise, if it doesn't, I mean, I'd be lining up to ask for the city to cut a check for.
You're doing
my
Yeah, for your taxes, yeah.
I didn't know that. That's all. I don't know. I think $6,000 is a great steal for the taxpayers to get a $17.5 million project that's going to bring market rate 52 apartments to our downtown and revive it. So I don't know. I'll do what the council wants, but I think this is something we should just pay and be done with, and contribute to the fact that the the seller is willing to extend it through the due diligence to make this happen. Where we really need to put a lot of effort is reaching out to the state for the workforce housing tax credits, to Debbie Durham's office and for the historical. Especially if the infrastructure bill changes the historical from 20% to 30%, because that'd be a real big win for the Lafayette to be able to cover down on those costs that they're going to bring back this, one of the very first hotels in the Midwest and very prestigious hotels as well. So that's my 2 cents.
I would like to see some verbiage that this money is contingent on the satisfaction of the development agreement. It all ties together.
Yeah.
I'll make the motion that we incorporate that language to the development agreement.
Yeah, but,
Oh, second.
Yes, sir.
Oh, sorry.
yeah, do we have a motion on the table first, right?
Yep, we have a motion
and
to
then-
amend.
And then we have a motion to amend that.
We have a motion to
Okay,
amend
good.
and-
I just want to make that point.
We're going to vote on
the-
that separately, and then we'll vote on the motion
As
on the
amended,
resolution, if it's amended or in whatever form that
Right,
it's
here we go.
in.
Can we be specific in your motion what language you want to see in there?
Do you have any suggestions, Attorney?
Yeah, it should say that if this is what the council wants to do, what this does is it provides what the seller needed to extend the due diligence period. The purpose of doing that is to allow the process to continue and the due diligence to be completed on time, or give more time to complete the due diligence period. So what the concern I hear of the council is that what if we pay $6,000 to the seller and then ultimately nothing happens, like the agreement does not go forward? What you're saying is that we want to be refunded that by the bank that's receiving it if it doesn't end up going forward. We don't have any problem extending it and giving the assistance they're asking for to get it extended, but if it doesn't go forward and we don't get the benefit of the bargain, you want the money back. So I would,
Correct.
if that's what you want, then you want to have language in the, let's see, it'd be the 5th whereas clause, stating, you'd replace that period with a semicolon after the word building and say, notwithstanding, or you would say, and said amount shall be refunded to the city of Clinton, Iowa in the event that the development agreement is not completed as contemplated.
Okay.
Or just say the sale.
Yeah.
The sale does not occur
'Cause
as contemplated, that's right. Yep, that'd be the way to do it.
That's fine.
Yep.
Okay. Does that satisfy your
That
motion?
does satisfy my motion.
Okay, and I believe Councilmember Seeley, you did second the
I did
amendment.
second.
And
I'll-
I would say also that this resolution, we don't have a signature from the bank on that.
Well,
So we would probably need it to say,
and does this need to be more specific that this money has to be used to pay the property tax bill?
Not as it's currently worded. In
But
fact,
maybe it needs to be that specific.
Well, it could be we just pay the property tax bill. And
I
then the money
don't
doesn't,
think we can do that, can we?
we can give them money. There's two issues here. If we're audited, the auditor's going to want to know, is there a public purpose, number one,
We have a public purpose.
which we probably have.
Yeah.
And two, we need to have some sort of ability to audit where those funds were spent, as long as they're consistent with.
Oh, you're saying send the payment directly to
Us
the-
doing that versus them.
yep,
Right.
you know where it goes.
Can that be done? Is that cool?
I'll find out.
I would rather give it to them and have them pay their property taxes. I don't think a
Because
public.
of separation?
If you're going to do that for a public purpose, the purpose is to apply for tax credits and complete renovation.
Right.
That's what they're using it for, but it states in there that, trying to see where it says
Well,
it.
no, this is just to cover the taxes of the current owner. And then the development agreement is with the purchaser, because the purchaser is actually moving forward to do the renovation. So this basically is covering his taxes from,
But the money we're utilizing is for the public purpose, which is the development
Yes.
agreement.
Which is the
That's the
development
only way it can roll.
Yep.
And that's why I wanted to tie those together to begin with, because if they don't do the development agreement, why are we throwing out, this $6,000? They're really tying together. We want the project to go. We're trying to give them the due diligence time frame.
But we need to just make a slight tick in this that says payment is to be used only for property taxes on this property.
That can be done.
so
And said amount shall be refunded to the city of Clinton if the sale does not go through as
Thank you.
contemplated.
Yep.
Both those conditions. Yeah. So somebody needs to make that motion.
So I would like to make that, or amend my motion to say that the whereas clause would say the amount would be rebated back to the city after the close of the development agreement, and that those funds can only be used for the payment of the property taxes.
I'll second that. I'll take back my first second and second that.
So regardless of whether or not, as long as, all right, I get what you're saying, right. It'll be refunded regardless as long
Two
as they go
things. Money
forward.
has to go to the property taxes for this property, and the sale needs to occur, then we've got an issue.
Right, and we get the money back regardless, right?
Correct.
All right.
So my one question is, who exactly is going to receive our check?
I
Is it-
suspect it's getting sent to the
Community
escrow
State Bank.
department. Yeah.
It's going to be to Community State Bank, right? Okay.
Okay, so technically, do I have two amendments there, or do I just
Well,
have
it's
one?
one amendment with both those terms included.
All right.
Okay, I have one more question. I apologize.
Don't apologize.
Don't they
ask
need
your
to
question.
agree to this?
That's what I
these
was just
terms?
saying.
Like, they need to sign a document that says these things.
We will not, yeah, and, all right, I think, so I made that point earlier. I think the additional term that needs to be included, in addition to the two terms that Councilmember Connell just stated, is that the payment will be contingent upon agreement with a written agreement of the terms of this resolution with the bank.
But it actually needs to be with the property owner.
Well, Community State Bank's receiving it, and they're the lender.
Yeah, and I
So
think
maybe both
I
of
think
them.
it's just worded in that manner because it's going to be probably escrow.
yeah, that makes sense.
I would say that the signatory on the agreement for the $6,000, it's essentially a loan, is what it is. The signatures on the agreement, that both Community State Bank and the owner will agree to the terms of this resolution.
I don't think the bank needs to agree. All they are doing is processing escrow payments. It's truly with the owner of the
Well,
property.
it's possible that the bank would have to agree, depending on the
It
situation
could
that
be.
the
You're correct.
property
They
owner's
have an
in.
ownership
So-
interest in the building, so I
Yes.
would say they should both sign.
Okay, thank you.
This is Councilmember Kearns. Can I ask for a clarification?
Yes, ma'am.
Are we saying this is only a loan and we want it back in either case, whether the property sells or the agreement doesn't, whether the agreement goes through or it doesn't, or are we just saying we want it back if the agreement does not go through?
That is the intention of my motion. Now.
Oh,
somebody
that it's a
else's-
loan only?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
To make it refundable to the city regardless.
Correct.
That's the motion.
I think
Thank
that's
you.
simple enough. There's a $150,000 payment upon closing of the property per the development agreement. I mean, that can just be handled at that time.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so we need to vote on the amendment first, and then the original motion. Is there any other discussion on the amendment made by Councilmember Connell? All right, can we have a roll call vote on that, please?
Councilmember Seeley.
Yes.
Connell.
Yes.
Oberon.
Yes.
Mussman.
Yes.
Kearns.
No.
Robinson.
Once this passes, you'll say no.
Yeah.
Vote on the amended resolution.
Okay, we had a motion and a second on the original motion. Is there any discussion on that?
Just a
As
quick,
amended.
it's the original motion as amended.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. All right, can we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Seeley.
Yes.
Connell.
Yes.
Oberon.
Yes.
Mussman.
Yes.
Kearns.
No.
Robinson.
Yeah.
All right, Councilmember Mussman.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a resolution determining the necessity in fixing date for a public hearing on the matter of the adoption of a proposed amendment number 2 to the amended and restated Clinton Urban Revitalization Plan. I move that the resolution be adopted as presented.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Discussion on this. Go ahead, sir.
Yep. If you guys remember, we talked about multi-res being removed, so there'll be still any apartments of 3 or more would fall under this, and this would then leave in place in our urban renewal plan the ability to have 5 years of tax increment for those particular multi-res. 5 years, 100% abatement.
Thanks for that.
Any other discussion on this? Can we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Seeley.
Yes.
Connell.
Yes.
Oberon.
Yes.
Mussman.
Yes.
Kearns.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yeah.
Councilmember Connell.
Thank you, Your Honor. I got a resolution setting public hearing on intent to accept offer for 832 11th Avenue South. I move the resolution be adopted as read.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on this? Can we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Seeley.
Yes.
Connell.
Yes.
Oberon.
Yes.
Mussman.
Yes.
Kearns.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yeah.
Councilmember Mussman, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a resolution of intent to accept bid for 220 22nd Avenue North. I move that it be adopted as presented.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, this is Councilmember Kearns. I just think that when we are selling our properties that are vacant, that we need to be careful on selecting people that do not currently have already dilapidated properties. And I know that at one time, and this house, I don't think we have any fear of it being turned into multi-res, but I think at one time we did discuss that the homes that we do sell have to remain a single-family residence and not be turned into apartments. So I just want to put that food for thought out there for everybody.
All right, thank you. Any other discussion on this? All right, can we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Seeley.
Yes.
Connell.
Yes.
Oberon.
Yes.
Mussman.
Yes.
Kearns.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yeah.
Councilmember Seeley.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this?
Yeah, Your Honor, I was trying to follow the matrix there a little bit. We had several bidders higher than that, and I'm not sure, I guess, reading the report, why we settled there, but was the investment amount a requirement?
Yes.
Oh, it was?
Yep.
Is that was stated that way? I guess I'm trying to remember back to the bid docs, if it was is that going to be our development agreement, or are we doing a new development agreement?
That would be a development agreement with the individual that wins the bid.
Okay.
Yep.
And then how are we checking the investment provided? I guess how are we verifying that dollar amount?
Basically on invoices and what they're paying out, and if they have other folks that are working on it. Yep.
So if they don't meet that, then what happens?
Well, I'd have to say in this case is, if the investments that are putting in, they have to get a certificate of occupancy. So if they're still able to achieve that, and let's say they put 80,000, but they get there by doing it 70,000, I think that's still okay. But some of these though, they didn't provide any, so we kind of just line through those. Team Halo, who's here tonight, they provided up to 35,000, but they may have a different vision of the house than the two there, Travis and Teresa there, who have 80,000 and she has 60 to 80,000. So.
Okay.
Come up to the mic, sir. Gotta state your name and where you live, sir.
I'm Timothy Angel from Team Halo LLC. I just want to say good evening to the council and community members. As a sole proprietor and investor in our city, the people in the community, I just want to say there was no specifics in stating where, because I've participated in a couple of these rounds before and acquired a couple properties where we disclose our intent and what we intend to provide as far as investment. On the other hand, there are some times where, actually I run a construction company, so when we propose a certain amount, it's just materials. We can't put a dollar amount on our time or what we put into it as far as labor from my side. In this situation was kind of the same. I see something on there where it was suggested that we were intending to sell or rent that from my entity, and it was not proposed as that way. It was actually, I was more on Mr. Winter's side as far as occupying it personally. But when I had spoke to one of the city officials before we proposed our bid, it wasn't declared that we had to disclose our intent of amount invested. It was nowhere on there it was stated that way in language. Maybe specifics is where everyone needs, we need to provide more specifics in that intent. Or I would have, as you provide, or if you occupy it as an owner, there's definitely going to be some significant increase in what you're going to place into that home. It was a pretty good residence. I myself, I have 8 children, so it was going to be occupied. So I respect Mr. Winter's his bid, and being that he's a member of our community, my whole purpose is to uplift our community from our inside out. Where we get a lot of people who are outside and they're investing in there, and I've acquired, I want to say 7 or 8 properties. They're pretty much, I have about 17 properties in the Quad City area, some in Moline, some other things. So, like I said, as a sole proprietor, we kind of get pulled a lot of many ways. So you tend to forget certain little things, or if you get a lien somewhere or something like that. It's just a small business, so it's just me, myself, my wife, and my supervisor. But the thing where we didn't see was the fact that we needed to provide investment amount that was not stated anywhere. What I don't understand is if you were to get outbidded in a bid, as you were before, then I can kind of respect that. But to say that you're going to provide $80,000 or $60,000 or $100,000 in equity to this property and have no proof of showing it, I have to agree with Councilmember Connell. You have no way to monitor what they put into it through invoice or anything else. So I think that's something we may need to change with that, or be a little more specific to how we will declare what's being put into these properties. In that regards, I mean, I was a little hurt by by losing that. So, I got to respect that.
Well, you're not the lowest bidder.
No, definitely not. Well,
you just lost based on the way the resolution.
It's kind of it's a sealed bid, so it's kind of a secret of who bids and who bids last minute. That may be strategized. I think Mr. Winter's first bid was kind of disclosed publicly, and we were just insinuating that maybe it was one other bidder, just myself and him. And I wanted to give the city a respectful bid to where I thought that the $5,000 may be a little too low and the $12,500 may be a little better bid. If I would have knew that it was a number of bidders, maybe I probably would have went significantly higher. And probably would have been significantly more detailed in what my purpose was with this property. So I think in that regards, that's pretty much my thing with it, my niche with that part.
I think we can be more clear on that going forward. And you said your intention is to occupy it?
Our intention was definitely to occupy it. My wife is a licensed and bonded daycare provider in the city of Clinton. We're new to you guys' city, so we've come and my daughter actually goes to high school there. Her name's Kanaja Angel. She was like one of the girls that went to state. She's a freshman. I remember occupying a rental property back in 2005 here, and I remember how the city was then. And as I ride around and I speak to Ms. Frederick or Ms. Tammy Johnson or one of those, I see houses that have been dilapidated and run down that I can remember families being there. So what our vision is, you see our slogan like wall to wall, we do it also. I'm not into tearing things down, and into kind of integrating them and uplifting them, provide second chances. And I work closely with a lot of agencies, especially a lot of rental assistance agencies like me and Ms. Rhonda Musman and myself work pretty closely together from the HUD program and other things, just trying to provide some type of respectful properties to people who don't have the same opportunities we have. So in that regard, it's just part of my vision of where we're going with that, just as far as the city period. So I think that's just one of my niches on that. I think we could be a little more detailed as in what you guys specifically expect from us and what we need to specifically state. As far as because anybody could just say, and not in respect to Mr. Winters, no, I'm not saying that, but anybody could say, okay, I'm going to put $100,000 in this house. Do you have a way to provide means that shows that you can provide this $100,000? I know if I buy a property from a realtor, you have to have some type of earnest money or some type of proof of funds saying that you're able to provide and put this much money there. It's not just a talk. It's more like a contract. You know what I mean? So in that case, I would want to know, I am interested in what would happen if you don't meet these amounts, which I'm not saying every dollar amount will be, because there's going to be some money put into that property. I was thinking $35,000 was enough to get it out of condemnation without attesting the part of labor. You know what I mean? But
so that was just material.
Yeah, it was just material. Purely, it was just the roof and it was just electrical. And I have a roofer's license. I have a licensed electrician on my team too. So where I can get things a little bit cheaper. You know what I mean? Than the average person who has, a family member who have to go out and get another company to come and do these things. I don't attest into the side of labor. I'm very interested to see where that property goes. You know what I mean? I have no doubt that Mr. Winters probably will put that much money into it because it's a very beautiful property. And if you're occupying it personally, you're definitely going to want it to stand out. So I just encourage that the council kind of look at those things and specifics before we state things. And
do you have a specific request of the council right now?
Honestly,
pertaining to this property. Because here's the deal: the resolution's written the way it's written, but that doesn't mean that's the end. So, do you have a specific request?
I guess my specific request would be to redo the bid cycle, where you could put out language that significantly states what needs to be provided. I know we've done that. This will be the second round for that property, where you guys took that and you opened it up to the public. It also gives some of these bigger investors, such as myself, who are on the smaller end of like the LLCs and things, chance to take care of some of those other little niches and things where I see some things on the board where they're not actually leaned, and I actually have conflict. We have some conflicts going on with the sewer side and the water side on some different properties, but they're marking them up there as if they're lean, and they're not. So where they could be easily disclosed and paid for we have to wait till those
Yeah,
restrictions are down.
Am I able to conversate here? Is that okay? Yeah.
It's on the agenda, so yeah,
Okay,
you can talk
we
about
are-
it
I
all
was
you
told
want.
that was one of the.
Yeah, no, you're good. I didn't, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the requirements when we sell a city-owned property that we put into place, I think 2 or 3 years ago, that whoever was purchasing the property had to be in good standing on various items.
understood that.
So that's really important if you want to continue to do that, because that is a thing that kind of weighs into the decision. But as you can see, it's not just you, you know, and a lot of times I agree with you. There's little things that happen that can be easily explained. I appreciate
All due
that.
regards, not to cut you off, excuse me, it was the same last time when I acquired a couple properties. The same things have been up there, and I acquired those properties through the council free and clear. Those, like I mentioned, those things are not liened. They're actually in conflict, where they will be resolved from that end. I was so interested in their property. I was speaking to Mr. Frederick. I almost was just about ready to just pay him and I'll get whatever credit back. That's fine. But I was instructed not to, you know. So those things, and then to come in and see him on the board, I'm like, wait a minute, those things don't exist. Like, really, they're not liened or against the property.
Okay.
Yeah, and we usually have those the day that the bid's done.
Right.
So that's when it pops up.
Right.
So when I saw you come in, and then what we do there is also in the past, we had a lot, not you guys, we had a lot of out-of-towners that were buying up properties to have write-off and not do anything. So when you talk about what the price or that is, just like whether it's the Wilson building that's doing a 12.5 million, or if it's this case here, if Travis wins this bid and does 80,000, we do a development agreement. So we just had one where we had to release the individual from the property and had to give it back to the city.
Right.
Because he failed to meet, not Travis, this is somebody else, failed to meet the outline of the development agreement. So we do have ability to check on that when it comes through. But really what we want to see is not only just what the amount's going to be spent, because you do great work as well, but you know, who is willing to put the most materials into this property? Because as you said, it's very big. And there's a couple different focus points. One is to keep that part that connects the back side of the garages. The other is to get rid of it. And there's different amounts in that, how you then do all that pieces of it, whether you get rid of that and just have a walkway between there. And so we just wanted to make sure we got the best solution at the end of the day that goes back on the tax rolls. So
In all regards, Mr. Brooks, was it stated somewhere in that regards of those things you guys were significantly asking for before? Because some of the language I read, it didn't state any of those things. And the same way we've been presenting these sealed bids to the council is the same way I went about it this way. Where, like I said, if I was asked to declare it, I would have provided a lot more significant information as my intent with this property.
well, we're just looking to see what the snapshot would be for materials being able to put back into this property, because as you stated, it's a very large property.
Yep.
And it could go a lot of different ways, you know. Could you still get the certificate of occupancy at a lower rate? Possibly, but that's just the difference, because we don't want to just necessarily go with the highest bid.
Right.
But we want to make sure that because we've had other cases where we get high bids and they're not even from here and.
Right. Yeah. So I think I'm speaking for a couple of different people, because I've attested to a couple of different conversations with some of those different people on the list, and I don't think they were instructed to know that we needed to put intent of what we were going to invest in it. I just solely know that's what I've been provided. That's the information I've been providing on other things, so that's kind of where I'm at with that. We would significantly be around the same amount if I was to double up the materials and the labor, because they kind of run neck and neck, you know, about $75,000, $80,000. But you know, so I don't really know what I'm asking the council. I mean, maybe it's something we should redo if you guys consider it. I think where it'll give everyone a chance. It might turn out to be more of a beneficial bidding war for the city if we can disclose a little more language as to what you guys are asking for us as investors.
And put a minimum bid 20,000.
Man, listen, no,
because it's going to be the third time we bid it now.
I was thinking about 20,000. I'm like, wait a minute. I was thinking about that.
Well, if we bid it again, you'll probably have to go higher. You know what I mean?
I'll probably go 50,000.
Yeah, you're at a public meeting. So I'll make a comment, because I posted some of the verbiage for the different houses, and it says bids would be subject to an agreement with the City of Clinton outlining rehabilitation of the property with 1 year purchase. So it is very vague.
Mm-hmm. The same language as the rest of the sealed bids, and I kind of just thought, you know, that was the way that we would go with it.
On Sunday, I posted the houses on 11th Avenue South on Facebook Marketplace because I can't get Zillow to take them. And for some reason in my head, I was thinking I didn't know this bid had ended. And I posted this one too. And then my phone blew up, and then I got a message that said, didn't this already close? The bidding period always closed. So then I realized I screwed up. So then I yanked it back off quick. So I kind of made a little mistake there, but
I saw that.
no harm, no foul. I posted it, removed it. But it never made it to Zillow. The only one I got to go to Zillow was 220 22nd Avenue North.
So we got 6 bids without it ever hit Zillow?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then when I posted the thing on Marketplace, yeah, it was a lot of messages. And then I realized I messed up. So it was only on there for a couple hours.
I found out about that property 6 days before the bids had to be in. I knew nothing of it. We kind of look on there frequently, and it actually wasn't on there. It was just kind of told in word of mouth to another official, and I wanted to acquire to see the property. I also agree with I think one of the new rules you guys are implicating where it'll stop a lot of entities from out of town kind of just getting those equity loans on properties and leaving them sit vacant still, which remains to significantly add to the problem that we're having in our city. They're not here. So the new rule I think you guys are implicating where you have to actually see the property.
Yeah.
If you want to sign some type of document to see the property, I think that's perfect. Yep. There's no way to attest from what are you going to do with that property if you can't see it. So that's one of I'm in favor of that. So.
Yeah, we're doing something similar with the tax search too. On specific ones, if somebody wants to buy a tax cert, they have to actually do a development agreement with the city. Because then we can not have some LLC from Montana that's buying up properties that no one ever does anything to.
So I'm going to throw my 2 cents in. I guess I don't like the way the resolution reads the way it is. I don't think it's the best deal for the city overall. I mean, it's the second lowest bid without really having to have a fact check on the investment amount if they do or don't hit that $80,000 mark or like a minimum assessed value. So I don't favor the way it reads right now. Now I don't know what the council would wish if they want to do this over again or not, but that's just my point of view. I think there were higher offers out there, and obviously you got to look at all the factors, but it's
I don't know.
It's certainly in my mind worth more than $7,600. So.
Yeah, but you have to also look at what the property taxes will be when it's all said and done, because if you do $35,000 on it, it's not going to be, the minimum assessed value is not going to be as high as putting $80,000 into it.
Right.
And so
but that also plays into what market rate is at the time. And
certainly.
And what Brian decides to put it on the tax bill.
Yep. But I mean, at this point in time, $5,000 today could end up being, a lot more in the future once it's all done. So, but you have to weigh that all in there. I think with Tim being here, though, I mean, we just want to make sure we have the best, fair, and impartial piece. We're not trying to slide anybody. We truly appreciate everything Team Halo does, as we do with Travis Winder and what he's doing. We just want to make it as fair and as impartial as all. And we're actually happy that we have this problem, because before, no one, we wouldn't even know who was bidding. So
I have an appetite to extend this 2 more weeks.
It's in an urban renewal area, so we're tied by those requirements if we want to.
It'll take longer. It's 30 days.
It would have
for
to.
an urban, because it's in the new urban renewal plan.
The bidding it has to be open
is
for
a little more stringent.
bidding. For
so the way it's worded, it implies that $80,000 will be invested pursuant to a development agreement, and that representation's been made. Therefore, the city would be within its legal right, I think, to hold Mr. Winter to that sum in whatever agreement we execute with him post-sale, and that the sale would be contingent upon him agreeing to the $80,000 investment amount. If he doesn't do that, then that property would revert and we would refund the sale price. So
there is a clawback, basically.
I believe there is, and I don't know how you can represent in a bid that you intend to invest an amount and then not do that. That would be essentially a misrepresentation in the bid.
open in all regards.
So if you pick Team Halo because they're they're a higher bid amount and their investment amount is $35,000, then he would be obligated to agree to that sum and whatever development agreement. Even though we didn't specifically state that you'd be bound by whatever you bid, that is strongly implied in the law. And if the council votes for Travis Winter, then I think that's what he's going to be obligated to do on that sale. So for those council members that are concerned that the bid price seems low, he is committing to invest a great deal of money in the house. If he does that, then no problem. What I'm saying is I don't know that Team Halo LLC doesn't maybe end up with it because perhaps Winter doesn't follow through. When you say $80,000 in a bid, I take that as what he's bidding. So I don't necessarily believe.
Can be,
Well, his estimates could be off.
Material expenses.
Right. I mean, his estimate could be off.
Travis's time is worth some money,
Yes.
so he could calculate that as he wants.
And that's something that's not,
And it's not specific as to how that number is being calculated.
Yeah.
Right. And your point, I think, to your point is, Councilmember Seeley, is that we're not sure because of the way we phrased we didn't phrase the bid solicitation specifically enough. We don't know for sure what that investment amount represents. Is that what you're saying?
I would concur.
and not to throw a ball in the court, I'm just saying that maybe it gave some of the other bidders a chance to maybe $200,000 invested. We didn't know. It just wasn't in specific language where we had to state that. I mean, so.
So your options are to approve this as on the resolution, or change who you want to award the bid to based on what you think is the qualitatively best offer, or to rebid with more specific instructions.
I struggle with the rebid just because this is the second time we've done this, and now one of our bidders has had his bid publicly put out there 2 times, and if we do this again, that's my concern about the rebid. Just my 2 cents.
What I'm hearing is that in the big picture, we have a number of, solid LLCs that have decided that doing this kind of business in our community is good. So how do we make that better from our point of view? And essentially, we're saying, hey, we want a development agreement. Here is the, let's call it the minimum standard. I don't know if that's the right word. The minimum standard of this is what will be included in your bid. Here's the cost of the property. Here's cost of materials. We are not including labor, or we are including labor in that bid, so that when we come up at the end of the day and that, property is ready for sale, this is what we want. That's something that we have to do on this side of the table first before we go out and do another, solicitation for bids. That's what we're looking at when we're having, 5 or 6, I didn't count actually, I think it was 6 that actually put in bids. We have people that are interested in doing this work. We better take advantage of it. And if we can provide a more succinct guideline, very good, a succinct guideline as to what we expect and what you need to provide, boy, we're all going to be winners because we're going to get more things done.
I mean, if you look at earlier on, Bush Construction's development agreement's how many pages long? Oh, yeah. Right? And that's a huge project, but on a small scale, we should be able to come up with, one or two, one sheet of paper or something of here's what's, you need to fill out with your submission maybe. And I agree. I mean, it would probably help sort through the minutia of all this.
Well, I mean, before it was just bid amount. So we have done that strategy. And in this case, how do you define investment amount? Is that, as Tim stated, is that to be more clear? Are we talking about, is this only materials, or is this material and also work on it? But I think we have the strategy displayed here. It's just a matter of not, do we want to kick this can down the road and publicly bid for the 3rd time, or do we want to move forward? So
We have a lot of beautiful properties in Clinton, a lot of them that I acquire and I ride around and I look at them on a daily basis, and I pray that they come up. So I assure you this won't be the last time this happens if you guys don't specifically state these things. This won't be the last time I stand in front of you and make this same speech.
In this case, we have somebody that's stepping up for an owner-occupied property within 60 days, and that speaks volumes to me. So I think we need to move forward. I think we can do things different down the road, but I think in this case, I think we've already kicked the can down once.
Yeah, and from my perspective, it's the same. I think going forward, we can help them define a scope of work as they're probably already doing for each of these projects. Give us a little bit better understanding of what they're going to do and the money that they're going to spend. But I think overall, when you look at the investment that Travis is going to put in, I think that it makes sense.
Right. Any other discussion on this?
Yeah, I'd just like if Pat could clarify that intent, the way he interprets that, the submission about the investment amount, that would be nice to have before the agreement gets signed, if it passes here today.
Well, I don't know what's intended because of the language.
Well, he spells it out fairly well in his letter.
Yeah. And I haven't seen that letter. If that letter is specifically detailed, then I think you basically know what he's going to do.
Yeah, we definitely need to work on this, though, because the other bidder,
right here.
you know, they didn't.
There you go.
Yeah.
So my opinion is that, look, everybody was faced with the same bid instructions. This gentleman here provided the most specific, most detailed assessment with the overall largest investment. We know for sure what he's going to do because based on what I'm seeing there, he has a very specific plan. He knows what he's going to do on each particular component. He basically gave us at least a rough breakdown of how that money is going to be spent. So I think that in the future we can tighten up the way we bid these and give better instructions perhaps so we can get more specific responses from everyone. But just based on our bidding policy, I think there's a good reason to believe that this motion as stated satisfies our policy.
And I think it's a pretty unique property, right? I mean,
It's very unique.
So I guess that's the other
garages.
side, right? You know, some of the ones that we get for $200 or $300 here or there, $1,000, it's one thing, right?
Right.
Well, this one's it's just one of those. You're not gonna probably have one of these every 6 months. So, okay. As long as we can work towards that goal, I guess that would be.
I think we still have to give a fair chance to not only myself but the other bidders as well to be able to provide that because it wasn't stated. Maybe he got some insight on what was needed to be declared in his specific letter because no one else wrote a letter. And nowhere in any other bids that I acquired from the city have I ever wrote a letter. You see
We actually got a couple other letters today on other properties. So it's
Right.
There's some. So this gal too, she wrote one down here at the bottom. She wrote a letter too.
In the first round in this property, I don't think it was displayed publicly, was it? And that's the reason why we brought it back around to allow the public to look at it.
It was. The council decided to put it back out there because they just wanted to see if there was any more interest, so they were giving it another few weeks.
How it
or
all
whatever
started was Travis actually put a bid in,
Right.
and then once that happens, then we then set a public hearing for other people to do it as well, and no one else did.
No, I mean the display of property. Did you guys display it the normal way you would do the sealed bids through?
Oh, I guess
Yeah.
it did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, I wasn't
yeah,
notified of
yeah.
that one.
Yeah. No, the first time it comes in was because we just got one today on another property.
Right.
We'll get random letters in from folks that say, hey, I'm interested in this property. Because they're following in the paper when it changes hand to the city owned.
Okay.
And once that happens, we just can't sell it to them. We have to actually do this, what we're doing now, which is a public hearing,
Okay.
to then have it and then see and have bids, then other bids come in. Well, nobody else came in. That's why they said, let's put it out again. And then that's how this one came about.
That's when we actually advertised it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Maybe in the future we can have, like for Tim and Travis and the crew, is we just keep a updated list of the houses that are now with it, you know what I mean? Because we have it,
Yeah.
but it's, yeah, we'll just, maybe just put it online. Yeah, gotcha. Yep.
Okay.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. We've had a lot of discussion. Is there any other discussion on this item? All right, can we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Kearns,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Seeley,
Yes.
Connell,
Yes, I feel better with Pat's explanation, so yes, I will approve it.
Oberon,
Yes.
Mussman.
Yes.
Councilmember Connell.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a resolution directing sale of 9.5 $1.485 million, subject to adjustment per terms of offering, general obligation capital loan notes, Series 2021A. I move the resolution be adopted as read.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this?
Yeah, I think, well, actually, we have something. Great. Okay, perfect.
Suzanne, the floor is all yours.
All right. Well, good evening, Mayor and Council. I am very pleased to bring some excellent sale results tonight. We received 4 bids from over 34 different firms, so there were some very large selling syndicates that bid today. And these bonds will they're issued to fund the current CIP. They're going to be 20-year GO bonds paid for by from the debt service levy. And Moody's did affirm the city's A2 rating, and this year removed the negative outlook. So there were some concerns over general fund balances in the past. That's been corrected, and they removed the negative outlook, and the city's rating is the solid A2. And the true interest cost is the sort of the APR that we use to measure the winning bid. And so the true interest cost ranges for the 4 bids came in from 1.89% to 2.04%. So pretty tight overall. The winning bid came from Robert W. Baird. They had a 25-member selling group, so they definitely brought a lot of firepower today, and they were 0.09%. I call it 9 basis points, 0.09% lower than the next winning, the second place bidder. So we like to see that's definitely Robert W. Baird came today and really wanted your bond, so that's excellent news. And I was looking at last year. Rates were great last year. Didn't know if they could go much lower, but we actually beat the rate from last year. So last year the GO bonds were at 1.96, and today the bids came in at 1.89. So very pleased with the results today. And I'm happy to answer any questions anyone might have.
Thank you for your help and time.
Yeah. All right. Any questions from council? All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Suzanne. You can bring those 2 windows to City Hall anytime.
They're a little far off the ground, but.
Can we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Seeley.
Yes.
Connell.
Yes.
Oberon.
Yes.
Mussman.
Yes.
Kearns.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
All right. Councilmember Seeley.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have a resolution approving modification to driving lane configuration on South 4th Street from 2nd Avenue South to 7th Avenue South within the city of Clinton, Iowa. I move this be adopted as read.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Just for the folks at home, we're going to change it to 2-lane and add a bike lane and add some parking, and it's going to work out very nicely.
A true engineer right there. Right?
Yeah.
Did we?
Did we-
I know we talked a little bit about the Prince Peace area.
Yes.
Did we discuss that at all for this project, or are we just going to go forward?
We're going to go forward the way that Jason has designed this, and we think that, because you actually, when you hit the light, that's the crossing there,
Yeah.
that's when that little drop-off occurs, and that's just fine. It goes around the corner, and we're not going to mess with that.
Okay.
And we think, but we do have the $5,000 for the sidewalk on the west side of House and Jeffries, and then the doctor place there. That has to be chipped out a bit so we can have, so the parking will be in there, and you can still have the bike lane go straight down and not have cars' doors opened up. So
Perfect.
And I'll have parking, better parking for at the fire station as well, for people stopping at B&S and stopping off there too. So.
All right.
Yeah, because that is pretty close. You stop at B&S.
Yeah. Or even like downtown auto. It's like I always feel I'm going to take out a door.
That's only a door. You
It is
didn't
a
need it
door.
anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Any other discussion? Can we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Seeley.
Yes.
Connell.
Yes.
Oberon.
Yes.
Mussman.
Yes.
Kearns.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Councilmember Connell,
Thank you, Your Honor. I have an ordinance for the first consideration.
please read the title.
An ordinance amending Chapter 76, subsection 5, truck route of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Clinton, Iowa, to preclude truck traffic on selected portions of South 19th Street, South Bluff Boulevard, and Harts Mill Road.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right. Can we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Seeley?
Yes.
Connell?
Yes.
Oberon?
Yes.
Musman?
Yes.
Kearns?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
All right, moving to unfinished business. Councilmember Connell, 7 Hotel.
Thank you. So I was just looking through the plans and everything, and I saw Jason. I think there was some talk about this a while back, several years probably ago, because there's that we did some work there with the sanitary that came down off Main, I believe. So I guess why this area of town specifically? I know there's other areas that don't have septic or don't have sanitary. I guess if
So
you could just
Councilmember
kinda-
Seeley didn't send or share the emails with Councilmember Connell today.
I shared some of them, not
Okay.
all of them.
Oh, yeah, I can answer all that. Jason Kraft, city engineer. Good evening, mayor, council. So this is right next to the Mill Creek sewer, so it's like the 300-foot stretch to the first house. This is something we've contemplated before, but it was always under the terms that it would be an assessment project or there would be a connection fee charged, which seems a little silly because the city receives plenty of money for their sewer bills, as everybody knows. It's averaging $50 to $60 a month. That should be enough to pay for a sewer over like 20 years that someone would connect to, and they have the cost already to connect to it. So we were always thinking, why don't we just try to fit this into the budget? Because there's 18 houses right here, and there's about 4 more across the street, along with the Vista Grande, and about 150 acres of possible development ground between the Tech Park and 16th Street Northwest that right now doesn't have sewer. So, not that that's something the city's going to do. The city's not in the business of extending sewers just for development. At least they have not in the past, except for the one out to the rail park. So, it kind of hit the shelf. We had a preliminary design, and we knew what we needed to do. The gentleman on the far north end by the name of Kevin Varner, I don't know if he'd called any of the councilmen. He might have called Rhonda Kearns, 4th Ward, maybe not. I asked him to, but this was, he did not? Okay, sorry. So this was about a year ago, called me and said, I can't even flush my toilet. I'm dealing with a porta potty here, and I was wondering if the city could run a sewer up here. It's about 200 and some foot from my property line. And I said, well, I'll try. We're in the middle of a pandemic, so I was at home and doing a lot of thinking about this and tried to include it in the budget. I intended on including it in the budget for this fiscal year, but with all the other obligations that we have with the consent decree, it didn't make the cut. But we always knew that we got 18 people on septic. Septics don't last forever, especially people that have had their septic tank replaced once before, septic field replaced once before, and it's budding private property, being that farm ground. So there's all these drain tiles running into the farm ground owned by Ron and Tammy Lampy there to the west. Pretty good farm ground there. So we always knew it would be a good project for those reasons. The American Rescue Plan came through here this year and decided that they'd restrict the way the cities could use this money to sewer and broadband, really. There's some other things too, but those are the main 2 things. We don't have a lot of, we have a lot of sewer needs, as you know. So I think that was discussed at the Finance Committee to commit those funds to a different long-term control plan obligations that we've had over the next 2 years, as well as this project. And just for all those reasons I said, the Varners don't have sewer. It's would open up for development, and it's something that's going to be needed for all those residents sooner or later. I mean, we're all going to be dead and gone here someday, but those houses are going to have people in them that are going to need to be connected to sewer. These septic fields, it makes no sense to constantly dig them up and redo them. That's a waste of money. It's just way easier to connect to the sewer. PVC pipe will last 100 years as far as we know, and it's pretty minimal cost. The city can get all that money back within about 20 years of paying sewer bills.
So the remainder of the 15 or 14 houses along that stretch, what if they never decide to do it?
Well, they will when they're septic, per the Iowa Code of Ordinances, when the septic field.
Just the first house?
Okay. Just first house this time, because they don't have a choice right now, other than if they wanted to extend their own sewer 300 feet. So, and that's something, if you all want to, we can contact the Varners and tell them that we're not providing them a sewer, and they can extend their own sewer and hook into the Mill Creek sewer if they want to. Or they can try to buy an easement from the farmer to put their own septic field in. I don't know how receptive the farmer would be to that. But the main issue here is just that, yeah, in the future, this is just one house. In the future, we will extend it all the way probably within the next 2 years, extend it all the way south there, and that would give all those people the ability to connect to that when their septic system fails. It's not like you got to connect tomorrow. It's just per the Iowa code, you would then, since there's a sewer adjacent to your property, you would then have to connect. A lot of those people might not live there in 15, 20 years. Some people might have a septic field that fails tomorrow, and they'll be on a porta potty as well. So I think we kind of owe it to citizens of our community to provide safe and reliable sanitary treatment facilities, which includes running sewer mains past their properties when we can. I know we've had some discussions with people out in Valley Oaks and Brandon Hills and out at Royal Pines to extend sewers to those places as well. There's a lot more money involved in that, millions of dollars. And
I guess that would be my question: is the city prepared to start spending that kind of money for all of those that are on septic?
That'd be a question for you, Councilman McConnell. I can always engineer a way to do it, but
well, I do. This is Councilman Kurtz, but I do think that we need to at least offer to the rest of those residents, because I know there's an older woman that's further towards town, and some of those people are waiting for that sewer to go in, and they're waiting to get hooked up. So I'm not so sure that we can just ask the Varners. I think they all deserve a letter for putting it in.
That is correct. So I want to restate something. We can only get to the rear property of the Varners this year. It's an impossibility to construct a project all the way to the south this year. We're going to be working closely. We already have with Ron and Tammy Lampy, who are the farmer. We're going to have to get on their property to get an easement anyway. And we have notified last year around this time. I sent letters to all those residents. I'm sure that there are some that are going to be interested in connecting over the next couple of years. It will be there for them. But I think we kind of owe it to the first couple to get it there this year, or they're going to have to use a porta potty for the next year.
Well, I would agree with that.
Well, $60,000 to get it to one house.
That's because it's going through the field there.
Yeah.
And it's a total of 300 and some feet.
And how many houses can a 10-inch line handle?
Like hundreds.
Hundreds? Okay. I have no idea.
150 acres of residential development, an 8-inch line, 8-inch diameter line.
Or what are you putting in here?
Maybe 10-inch. But I'm saying it's going to be more than enough.
Okay. Out in Elvira, they found new septic systems that actually, they just take up the spot they're in. They've got a chemical treatment process and stuff, and so I guess what's alarming to me is $60,000 for one house.
Well, as I said, it's not like we're just hooking them up. We have to connect to the manhole that's 10 feet deep, dig a trench through the farmer's field, replace the topsoil, and then get to their back property line.
Well, 20 years of sewer bills is $14,400.
Yeah, I think we're looking kind of nearsighted. So it's not just the sewer to this household. It's the first phase of many phases that can add to cover.
But it's literally $60,000 to get one house on there, and then beyond that point, not sure.
But I do know that it's going to cost $225,000 total. But I'm telling you the reason why that is more expensive is because we have to go through about 4 times the amount of property to get to them, and we're going all the way to the back of their property line. So, yeah, if we wanted to run a 6-inch line from our sewer behind Witt Small Engine all the way to the northwest corner of the Varner property, we could do it for a lot less, but that would be silly because we're trying to set this up, as you alluded to, with a 10-inch line that would service the entire area forever and not just be short-sighted and say, hey, how much to get the Varner some sewer? So it's not really.
Well, I sympathize with them. I'm dealing with the same thing. You know that. So I get where they're at here. I also know when a developer comes into town and puts a road in, and water lines and sewer lines, we don't pay for that either. But then
we do. We rebate them. We rebate them taxes.
Well, that's all revenue generated. Yeah.
But we can get back to them and tell them that we would prefer that they put a septic field in. I just thought this was a good way to get started with a sewer that I know that some of these other people are going to be calling someday. It might not be tomorrow, but it might be 10 years from now. Maybe 6 of these people say our septic field failed and our neighbors aren't going to allow us to get an easement on their property. And I don't want to spend $15,000 to put one in like we're doing in Elvira.
Their current septic their leach field runs into that field, and there was never a recorded easement for said leach field? Because they bought the house in the last 10 years, I believe, right?
It's a question for them.
Oh, well, I mean, leach field, some of them are recorded, some of them aren't. I know that because I've talked to the farmer several times. And they're a little bit frustrated with the fact that they've got, yes, all these recorded or unrecorded leach fields into their farm ground.
Yep.
And when they fail, they create a sinkhole in the edge of their field. Sometimes they plug up, and then somebody has to go out there and try to unplug them. So they're like, I'm tired of this, you know. But but they're nice people. Everybody is up there. But yeah, so $60,000 is not just for one person. That's just what it's going to cost to get the project to them. But we intend, I guess it isn't my intention, but it has to be your decision. Do we want to provide the other 17 people with sewer someday? And do we want to cross the road and open up that for development? Maybe we do, maybe we don't. But if you vote no, the project won't go forward. If you vote yes, it will. So it's up to you.
Good way to look at it. And there's a existing sewer line all the way out in the middle of this field.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, in 2005, the city extended a sewer from round about 8th Avenue South and Mill Creek. They ran all the way up Mill Creek to Main Avenue and extended it over to 19th Avenue Northwest before it was there, ran it to the tech park. So some people back then might have said, why are we spending $2 million on sewer for the tech park? But really, it was $2 million to open up the rest of the world for development out there. And they were very long-sighted and thought, eventually we're going to have, it could be 200 years from now, Clinton's going to use that sewer all the way, it'll move all the way out to the west, it'll be like as big as Chicago someday, I don't know. But it's not there just for one person, it's there for the whole city as it grows northwesterly.
So this would be just a launching point, a precursor to what could it open up to?
I think that Mill Creek sewer, you could connect many sewers. The school actually ran their own sewer out to that Mill Creek sewer. The middle school did. They paid for that. During the construction of that middle school, they ran a sewer all the way along that creek.
Well, why didn't we pay for it?
Get us.
I don't know.
It actually had.
Who is we?
The council maybe didn't want
at that time. I don't know.
Maybe they didn't want to pay for school infrastructure. I'm not sure.
The reason why we did that when I was on the school board was because of that was all blue ground, blue zone ground, and that was the only way that we could get the sewer to be run out of the school to somewhere where it could dump. Because that's all, that whole area right there, including the little part just south of the school, is all part of a blue zone, which is a waterway restricted, and that's why it had to be done.
Okay.
That's all gravity fed though.
That is.
There's no pump stations, all gravity.
I mean, you don't know what the easement acquisition costs are yet.
It'd be $4,000 to buy an easement through Ron and Tammy Lampy's property. We're just working with their lawyer right now on that, on the final finishing touches of how the topsoil is prepared and saved and salvaged, and make sure that we don't disturb their farm ground too much.
What's the project time frame if this were to go forward?
This would be completed this summer. And we would have, we would be set up for hopefully next year and possibly the year after, extending it all the way to the south. And that would be a much cheaper cost per lineal foot for the rest of the sewer.
Well, if there's no one to hook up any further for now, what's the point in putting it in until someone else is ready?
Oh, there's plenty ready.
Well, should we have that conversation? Rhonda?
With the
You think there are other people in need?
I know that there are, it's mostly the older people that want it because, or the people that their septics aren't new.
Okay.
So, I mean, I know 2 elderly people right now that they want to sign up as soon as they can. And then I know somebody else that said, my septic's new, I'm not doing it.
Mm-hmm. And they don't have to. And we can't physically construct the whole run of sewer this year. And it's not going to cost any more. I mean, maybe a small amount of mobilization fees to get back out there. But it's going to take a lot longer time to put a project together. It's because there's sheds in the way, there's pools in the way, there's fences in the way, there's trees in the way, there's a lot of things in the way to the south. So we have to have long, drawn-out conversations with all of these property owners, which we will do, and we plan to do this winter. So if you want to put this project on hold, the only thing that will happen is the people that live in the Varner house will have to use a porta potty for another year or so.
That's not true.
Why was that? Why would that not be
That,
true?
they've been using a porta potty for a year. They've had nothing.
I'm not making it up.
They do have a porta potty.
Do they really?
They
Yes,
do.
they do.
Yes. North side of his garage.
Unbelievable.
But they can put it, you're right, they can, there are options for them. They can put a septic, they just something they asked of us. And I think we talked among, Matt
And they have
and
to
the
pay
mayor
to hook
question.
up to this line.
Well, they're gonna have to run a sewer out to it from their house.
Okay.
Because we don't run sewers
Yeah,
all the
they
way
have
up
to
to
pay
the
the
house.
connection fee, and then the monthly fee. Yep. I just think it'd be a good thing to shotgun this area, get it moving. We can pole vault over the mouse turds later, but I think this gets these folks what they need right now. And then we can have longer discussions on the way ahead. But if you look at any city across Iowa, it's one of those things where all of a sudden infrastructure goes in, people that never want to change are interested, whether it's water, whether it's sewer. So we'll know that, have a better feel for it as well, because before it's just been a pipe dream, figuratively. Now, literally, it's going to be a dream of pipes, one pipe in particular. So I would just recommend that the council move this forward.
So it's there. The folks along that are going to have to be required to hook
Negative.
up to it in
Negative.
the future.
Negative.
I thought you said by
Yes,
Iowa
but
law-
only when their septic
Only when their
field
septic goes bad.
would
Yes,
fail.
yes.
Otherwise, they're fine.
We would never force
Or when they sell their house and they get an inspection that
Yeah,
someone's not happy
so
with.
That's what happened in Elvira, to digress a bit. They could not literally sell their house because they were not authorized to through DNR because the septic fields were bad. And that's where they came up with an alternate solution. I've seen that also go bust, that same solution that you provided. It has not worked in every place. They use this a lot in foreign countries where they have no sewer, but those things have a shelf life as well. So I'm concerned on Elvira, but that's not my discussion for tonight. They should run a sewer.
But it would work, something like that it could work, but why would we when there's a sewer right there? It always works, a new sewer that's installed.
And this,
Thanks for the explanation.
Yep.
I guess that's what I was trying to get at.
and this would be covered under the new sewer funds that or the,
The federal
American Rescue Plan.
We scratched it into the American Rescue Plan dollars that we have not yet brought to you because
So
they're
where to
not.
go with,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it's already, money was spoken for, the finance committee hasn't actually gone through and figured out.
And that's not really spoken for. So we have dollars in the sewer plan to pay for this now. And what you have to do when you get money from the federal government is you have to show an auditing format where that goes. So what was brought to the finance committee was actually a very nice plan to make sure that when we get audited, we're in adherence to that. But right now, we're still waiting on when that will ever come. So it's kind of a myth. So this is in the sewer budget right now. We would then seek reimbursement once we bring that plan to the finance committee and back to the council.
Fund transfer, which you guys will talk about Friday.
About you there.
All right. Any other discussion on 7H?
That's a good
I
discussion.
think it goes into 7R too.
All right.
Yeah, if you want to combine them together, that's fine with me. I just want to know.
Yep. Gotcha. And 7R is the same. That's for Councilman Casino.
Well, let's
combine them together. I'm tired of talking about it.
Okay, 7R. Well, I already have a motion and a second on 7H.
Yeah.
Take it back.
I do not have a motion and a second?
Yeah. No.
So I'll make the motion.
Oh, okay.
7H and R.
I don't.
Combine
All right.
And move forward.
Second.
Thank you.
All right. We have a motion and a second to move 7H and 7R forward. Is there
We still
any?
have to approve the bids then? That's what's going to happen next, Matt?
For the 16th Street Northwest?
For the sewer?
Yes.
We have
Yes.
to go
Yes,
bid. Okay.
It's that the 7R is directing the advertisement
Yep.
for bids.
I think it's for July 28th. Proceed, sorry, it's the June, I'm lost my
July
place.
28th.
Yeah, July 28th.
All right. Any
Yeah.
any other discussion on these two items?
Here, 13. I can't.
All right. Can we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Seeley.
Yes.
Connell.
Yes.
Holbrin.
Yes.
Mussman.
yes.
Kearns.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Councilmember Connell.
Thank you, Your Honor. Was that all of them?
Wow.
It was.
Jeez.
It felt like I had 100 more. Movie adjourned to 5 p.m. June 22nd, 2021.
We are adjourned. Give us a moment to set up for the committee of the whole meeting. What? Am I still wet? Oh, God, dude.